Nope, I guess we're live now. Whatever. I forgot to transition. That whole thing screwed me up. Good morning, everybody. I was supposed to go live with the Moabo face. Here, look. Yeah, but anyway, happy Sunday, everybody. We're the Impractical Blacksmiths. We were gonna take a quick second because I'm waiting on my headphones to charge, and I told the crew that give me a few minutes. So, uh, anyway, yeah, happy Sunday. Welcome everybody. Impractical Blacksmith. I'm Yamez. We've got Alexis and Adam. And yeah, we're here to discuss topics and things of import to you. Um, yeah, none of us were ready. We were because I kept saying, "Give us a minute, give us a minute, give us a minute," and then we're live. I'm like, "Oops, I guess we're live." I was gonna make y'all stare into the eyes of the Moabo for an extended period of time. Uh, so I'll probably be switching my headphones. We might get a bit of audio issues. Um, Sorry. So, which brings us to the topic of today is preparedness. No. How was your weeks? Did we lose Alexis? Uh oh, okay. Okay.
Last week, which would not this week that just finished, but the one before. No, I worked 2 days for like I don't know, like 37 hours, something like that. And I worked one day this week for 36 hours, and it's just like 30 hours pays the bills. So I mean, it's like it's not a big deal, but it's like I'd really like to be packing away 100-hour weeks right now. And there is a expiration date on these activities, and I need to get it done. But other than that, I've been organizing my shit. I've been looking, just going through all my stuff and going, why do I have this? Do I need this? Am I ever going to do anything with this? And more often than not, I'm coming across more stuff, like just cleaning up this room. Just what I have in here, not what I have in here now, but what I had in here before. I took two full 42-gallon garbage bags of stuff to the dumpster.
So,
It's just like I am never going to do anything with this.
oh yeah.
Why do I even have this? And but I've been in this room for 12 years, so I mean, you just kind of accumulate stuff. And
Oh yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really look like it when you walk in. It doesn't look like there's less stuff in here, but there really is. And it's kind of nice. And then also like going through my stuff at home and things like that. Like like looking at my metal pile, right? And I've literally got like 4 or 5 thousand pounds of material sitting around my house. Like this, it's all just stuff that I've collected over. Well, I only started collecting metal like 5 years ago, and so I've got all these loader forks that are like 1,000 pounds a piece. Um, Well, that's if you include the back and the front. I've got 5 backs and I've got 3 bottoms. So the bottoms are like 750 pounds, and the carriage backs are like 350 pounds.
If I
And
was
so I've got
closer, I'd
five of
come
the
get them.
backs. Huh?
If I were closer,
Yeah,
I'd come get them.
yeah, you can totally come get them. There's even I didn't think of that. Anyways, yeah, you just got to figure out how to load them. They're just laying out in the grass on top of a 4 foot by 4 foot piece of 4140 half-inch plate, and then I've got just piles and piles and piles of like those stainless steel rings, and I probably got 200 or 300 3 foot long S cams. I've got thousands of pounds of shit that I'm never gonna do anything with, and it's just like, what am I going to do with all this? It's all like, because, with the exception of the stainless steel rings, it's all high carbon steel. It's all 1080, 1040, and 4140. And it's like, what am I going to do with all this? I'm not going to do shit with it. That's what I'm going to do. And that's just the cold hard truth of it. And so I've just for shits and grins, I've been like gathering stuff up and going, wonder what I can put in a box and ship to this person or that person, and so
Yeah.
rather than just throw away.
I'll take
So
any of the stainless steel stuff. I love working with stainless steel.
I just think I could totally send you a box of rings.
Yeah, those rings, I've used them before. They're fantastic. And if I
They
can
are.
make
They're
it to
so much.
quad state, if I can make it to quad state, I can give some out, But I will say on that, my truck is not
Yeah,
looking
no,
good.
right. The yeah, Yamez. Honestly, it'd be cheaper and easier for you to fly to Quad State than it would be to fix your truck and drive.
Yeah, it's got some sort of transmission issue right now. It's got to
You
be
could
a
totally
sensor or a solenoid. It's not mechanical
you
issue,
could
but
totally fly a round trip for like $240.
right. Yeah, but
You
then
would
there's
just
all the
wait.
car rentals and whatnot in between.
Hold on, my audio's not working.
I
Are you
got it.
working?
I fixed it almost right away.
Oh, okay. Oh, because it was. Did we have like non-video participants muted or?
No, no, it was
I
recalibrating the what's the word? Recalibrating the device for the source on
Gotcha,
OBS.
gotcha. Okay. And anyways, yeah. So I've just been tooling around, just like kind of going through my stuff, and um, yeah, that's literally been my 2 weeks. That, and I mean, since I was off for basically 11 of the 14 days since the last show, I've been playing a lot of Minecraft.
Yeah,
It
I
switches
saw
back and
that.
forth. It switches back and forth what game I'm playing, and the last couple of weeks have been I've been on a Minecraft kick, and it just varies as to what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You get along really
Right.
well with Ash. She's been playing Minecraft for the last month or so, like religiously on her time off.
Hell yeah. And I don't know why, and the messed up thing is like, I'll start a world and I'll work really hard on it. I'm not good at building, right? I'm the kind of person that just digs a hole and puts my shit in a cave, right? I make a cave, and or cave house or whatever, and and that's good enough for me. I can't do like these elaborate buildings and stuff like that. I don't have the mind for it. I have to follow a template or instructions to do those things. Um, but I love the early game and the challenge of having nothing. And then, yeah, as soon as I get to the point where I go kill the Ender Dragon and then go get a set of wings from the in city ships, I kind of lose interest in playing that world. Like once I get my wings where I can now just fly all over to go exploring, I'm just like, let's start another one, start from scratch. And it's weird, but
I like the building, rather than like playing it through as the game, you know. Like I'll
yeah.
build like one of my favorite builds that I had done was If you ever seen the 1980s Popeye movie with Robin Williams,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, you know the village that he lands in. I recreated that village in Minecraft. You know, like through screenshots and stills and everything like that from the movie. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, I terraformed a little area to be the cove that it sits in, and I built all the houses and walkways and everything. Oh, it's cool as hell.
It is cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
but
Yeah, my daughter does that. She won't even play in survival. She just goes straight into creative and then just builds these massive, elaborate towns and buildings and just like, and she'll just
that's
sit there building, building, building all day.
yeah. No, I get that. You know, but the next step up from that is running a server so that people can come in and enjoy your builds. You know, but friggin' Adam's over
Anyways,
there like, what's this craft
that brings
mine thing?
yeah, right.
Adam's like, oh yay, y'all are talking about pixel craft. I'm sorry,
Just remind.
I did see the Minecraft movie, and it was pretty damn good for what it is. That dumb, goofy fun. It was a good one. You know.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. But
Adam, how was your
yeah.
2 weeks?
My 2 weeks, it's finally dried out here, which means I've been able to get things done. So I've spent most of the week on the tractor, um, clearing, getting fire breaks started, um, and trying to get my mower fixed again, because it had the same issue. I took it back to the repair shop to get done. So in the interim, I bought another ride-on lawnmower. So, and then I found out once I got it home, it's actually a finishing mower, not a slashing mower. So that's a bit of a pain in the rear, but it got what I needed done at least. I mean, it doesn't look that great because, like I said, it's a finishing mower, not a slashing mower. But at least it's knocked the grass down and it looks moderately okay. So yeah, so I've been on the tractor. I've been trying to do that, which means I'm also able to get, as of my next swing off, I'll be able to get down to the workshop, start clearing up around that, and continuing the build, putting the base down for the actual workshop area, and then I can start putting things together and working them out and putting them where they need to be. And then I'll be digging a trench so I can run power and all that type of jazz. Unfortunately, that all comes secondary to getting myself fire season prepped, because I have about probably a month and a half gap between where everything's too green to burn and then when it'll turn into a tinderbox. So I have to really, really flog myself, and that's on top of other things I've got to do. I've got to put up another shed to put my caravan under, to set that up for someone coming to extra accommodation here and all that type of jazz. Also, it keeps it out of the weather. So yeah, I've basically been going not quite 100% this week because I also had overtime at work. It's Indian Premier League cricket season, so I've had overtime at work. I've also been absolutely flat hammer. I'm a board member of, I've mentioned it before, I'm a board member of my my HEMA club, my Historic European Martial Arts Club. And so I've been absolutely flat stick organising stuff for that, because we've got an event coming up start of July, which is a major event for the club. And also trying to get everything compliant with the government regarding that. We've also got an election coming up, like next week, week after next. So I've been doing a lot of research into the best candidate for my region, also, my political sway, and Yeah, so
I
it's
will.
been absolutely hectic fortnight. Today's actually been kind of the first day I've had off, and that's only because last night I went on a date and we watched the was it Revenge of the Sith on the big screen in the cinema because it's like the 20th anniversary of its release or 25th anniversary of release or something. So went and seen that because I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd, and so yeah, had a couple of friends and went and seen that in the movies, which was really good because the last time I saw a Star Wars film at the cinema was Phantom Menace. So
Yeah.
that shows you how long ago that was. So yeah, that was the last Star Wars movie I watched at the cinema. So it was nice to see one of the Star Wars films I hadn't seen on the big screen in its glory. So um,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically been it. I've been also looking into a whole heap of stuff blacksmithing wise. Still working on my book, trying to get that hammered down, and I've got all. It's basically all written. It's now just in parts, and it's a matter of putting those parts together in a way that makes sense. So
Right.
yeah, but it will be as big, if not bigger, than practical blacksmithing, which is which is actually like looking at it from an outside perspective, it's like holy shit. As big, if not bigger than practical blacksmithing, which is rather like eye-opening for me. It's like, wow, I've managed to collect that much information. That's rather good.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Madcap Magician popped in and says, "Morning. Just a quick question. What happened to Big Dog Forge? Haven't seen him in forever." And yeah, Alexis put in, yeah, he had to step away from YouTube for personal reasons, work related, I believe. And this was a couple of years ago now. And he passed the show on to me, and we've been going since. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, and that's a morning talk show with and about blacksmiths. You know,
Mhm.
so
We're pulling up on like four years or something like that, aren't
four
we?
years. Oh my
It's
gosh.
more. I believe we started taking over in 2019.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah. Oh
pre-COVID,
wow.
and I was still living at Finn Road, so I know that was
yeah, yeah.
2019.
Yeah, so we've been doing the show for 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. We
no,
actually
as
did a
far
whole year. We did a whole year on like the history of blacksmithing, the history of metallurgy in human culture over the eons, like all the way back to like freaking the earliest tools and the earliest reported recorded cases that we know of uh humans using metal for tools, so it's like, yeah, all those live streams are up still. If you look at my channel videos, it's all live streams. All is like, yeah, it's all and only live streams lately. But yeah, it has been that long, and it has been quite a wild ride. We did switch a bit ago from doing every single Sunday to every other Sunday to avoid burnout, and yeah,
and
yeah,
also
so
because I work every other Sunday.
yeah, it works out too. Yeah.
The
Um,
dynamic is better with all of us than just two of us. And honestly, after apparently, like I didn't even realize it'd been that long, but yeah, after doing this for 6 years, I mean, it got to the point where we were just resenting having to get on and do the show every Sunday. It's just like you get on, it's like, fuck, I got to do this show. I don't know what we're going to talk about. It's like, I just don't want to do this. And so we had a staff meeting and came to the conclusion that we work better as a group than we do when we're splintered. And so let's just cut the show in half so that we're not getting burned out, and we actually look forward to doing the show instead of resenting it. So I think it's created a at least a more fun environment for us doing it. Even if all we're doing is getting on here and
chatting with each other.
this.
Yeah. It's the show can go anywhere from like where we have a topic that we do our like good mornings, how you bends, and then pick a topic and kind of run through it, share some research or whatever, all the way to literal like this show. Like we don't really have a topic, but because we all play off each other and we know the audience, we know you guys, anybody who pops in joins the conversation, you know. It just works. Think like a nice round table podcast talk show.
And see but here's another thing that might be happening in the future as well. I say might because it depends on how things work out. But there is a foreseeable chance for me that towards the end of this year, there will be an opportunity to actually do this this show from my workshop beside a fire. So it can kind of go back to being that forge side chat type thing, where, if depending on if I can get, like, I've got to get a transmitter and stuff like that and get things worked out. But like I said, there's an opportunity. There's a good possibility that I'll be able to be in a workshop, and particularly when we're talking about tools or something like that, I can grab an example or whatnot, and it will go back to that kind of format. But yeah, it's one of the things that this show is kind of constantly changing and evolving to suit our needs and your needs. And I just want to say, hey, Paul, yes, after all these years, you are still lurking there in the background, and so's Tim. At the start, he was saying, like he doesn't like to be part of the crowd, so that's why we never hear from him. But different Tim there,
Tim
Madcap. But yeah.
I have a question. Why do I have option on my lower right corner of my thing? Is that from your OBS? Because I don't have that.
I was moving my mouse, and that's where it stopped. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
I'm all looking for it. I'm like, how did I do that?
That was me.
But yeah. So like as Yamo said, we don't really have a topic, but just before the stream, we're actually talking about how even in the modern day, a blacksmithing is still to a certain degree essential. And come from that old adage of for one of the nail the shoe was lost, for one of the shoe the horse was lost, for one of the horse the war was lost, the battle was lost, and for one of the battle the war was lost. Not that war is a good thing, but it's more of that. The way I see it is there are certain historical, and we've kind of talked about this before, particularly with the reconstruction of Notre Dame. But there are trades out there, and particularly when it comes to archaeology and historical preservation, where there are a good chunk of trades that would not be able to do their part for preservation if it weren't for smiths. Because sure, there's a lot of tools that can be made, modern made and manufactured and all that type of thing. There's no doubt about that. But having been in contact with some of the Australian historical societies and stuff like that, there are a lot which require traditional methods be used with the traditional materials, or historical methods be used with historical materials and historical tools. Now, if they really want to be a stickler about it, those historical tools have to be made in the same way of the same materials as well. So, they've got to be made of iron, and, the steel be made in blister steel or different manners of steel or whatnot. And then those forged tools for those historical trades. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to the smith. And I personally think one of the best stories to illustrate that is the story of the blacksmith and Solomon. You guys know that story? I thought
I'm
every
more
blacksmith knew
familiar
that
with the
story.
one. I'm more familiar with the one about why a blacksmith has frills at the bottom of his apron.
Nope,
That's
never
because
heard that one. But
really,
yeah,
you goofball. Oh, well, you tell
share,
yours
share.
first. You brought it up.
Okay. So this blacksmith story time. So the
Story
story
time
goes.
with that.
The story goes as far as I'm aware, and this is a very annotated version because it's a relatively long story. But King Solomon, after completing his temple or something like that, held a feast and invited all the trades and artisans to come and participate in this feast, and also King Solomon would then determine who was the king of the trades, who was the most worthy of his accolades and stuff like that. And so it was the bakers and the candlestick makers and the butchers and the carpenters and your plasterers and your painters and your stonemasons, and all the trades came in. And they were all dressed up in their niceries, and they were sitting down to this feast. And it was a massive hall. It was absolutely packed. And one after the other, they started to give their presentation on why they were the best. Like the baker said, every morning and every evening I made the bread that fed all the workers, and the stonemason said, without me, carving the blocks of stone, or without me and my trade carving the blocks of stone, then the temple would never have been built, because et cetera, et cetera. And so each, the candle maker would also turn around and said, without me, there would be no lighting in order to work in the nights or to illuminate the temple. And so each trade went through and presented their case onto why they were why the King Solomon should consider them as the king of the trades. Anyway, right towards the end of the feast, when just about all the food was gone, the door was basically kicked open with a mighty crash, and in walks this man with burly man, a big beard, thick arms, wearing a leather apron and covered in soot and dust and grime and scale, and not cleaned up or dressed up. And he walks in, and all the other trades start going off, and the king's right hand man, basically stands up and demands, what's the meaning of this? How dare you come before King Solomon without proper attire and making sure you're clean? And the blacksmith says, I'm sorry, sire, but I have only just finished work. I have only just been able to stop working. And the king goes, who are you out of all these trades to still be working? And the man says, I'm the blacksmith. I'm the one who makes the tools for the stonemason, who makes the knives for the butcher, who made the dipping pots for the candlestick maker, who ensured that all
The tailor had
what they call
scissors.
the tailor had scissors and all that type of thing. And he goes, and unfortunately, even though this temple construction has stopped, life has not, and people still need tools. The farmer still needs his plow. The wife still needs her needles. The armory, the soldiers still need their swords. So I can never stop working. And the King Solomon basically turned around and said, out of everyone here, none of you would have been able to do your job without this man, and he is the king of the trades. So, like I said, that's a very annotated, very short down version. I encourage you all to look up the story of King Solomon and the blacksmith, and because it's a wonderful story. And it goes into a lot more depth than I just did, but it kind of boils it back down to why, again, what I think in the modern terms of, for want of a nail, and how even in the modern day, a blacksmith is still essential, particularly towards those trades that require that historical accuracy in order to do their jobs,
Well, not only
Um,
that, but really think about it. Like, though, if you were to take what a blacksmith did in the past and apply that to today, a machinist, a mechanic, are
yep,
blacksmiths by nature.
I've said that
So,
dozens of times in the past. Yeah.
so it's like even today, that's people who work with metal and provide the tools and whatnot, the tools and means to complete other forms of production. All of that would stop without the proverbial blacksmith, the machinist, the engineer, the mechanic, you know, like that's the blacksmith. You're all of those, you know. Um, but yeah, no, the story of the why does a blacksmith's apron have fringes is a very, I mean, it's the same story, just in a different setting. It's in the one that I pulled up from Anvil or Ken's Iron Store. Um, it's like in AD 871, Good King Alfred, blah blah blah. But in a nutshell, yeah, he hosts a feast to celebrate the tradesmen and the brings in the heads of all the trades and like, oh, I'll offer a prize to the king, and label the king of trades and whatnot, and present your case, and they all go through their cases, and the blacksmith comes up and presents his case, and they all laugh at him because he's unkempt and blah blah blah, and the uh, um, the tailor, just on a goof, sneaks under the table and snips the bottom of his apron, to make it more frilly, and the blacksmith, all pissed off, goes and locks his shop, and everybody laughed at him, and then weeks go by, and the tailor's shears dull, and the butcher's knives dull, and various tools and stuff around the the country are breaking, or around the town are breaking, and nobody can get a hold of the blacksmith, and everything starts to break down until they finally bust into the blacksmith's shop, where he has sharp scissors, sharp knives, ready-made tools that he'd spent all this time working. And he says, "Now, who's the king of the trades?" And the king gives him the prize and the title of king of trades, and that's why the blacksmith's apron has fringes. You know,
Right.
yeah. So similar
I've never
story,
heard.
but like,
Yeah.
the whole apron
Yeah.
fringe thing has, I don't want to say died out of style, but like, it used to be like the bottoms of the apron was all singed and, cut up. And so
Mm.
that became a style, and uh which created a story and all that stuff. But
Good
yeah,
morning,
similar.
Roy.
Oh, Roy is needs to come in. So we're gonna talk business. No. Is it better to show your business off in marketing, or is it better to sit quietly and grow your business behind the scenes? So Roy, we need you to come up here and talk to us about the benefits, or the differences between growing and showing. Sorry. Pre-game joke. I'm so sorry, everybody. Roy's like,
I
well,
did
that's
not
enough
think
for
that.
me.
Oh my goodness.
I'm out of here.
I thought it was funny.
Ah,
I thought it
I've
was
been
funny at the time.
I thought it was funny right now.
Mm.
Yeah, so
So
I didn't even say it, and I'm blushing. God.
but yeah, those
I
are,
want him to give an answer, even if it's in the chat. Is
yeah.
it better to grow your business or to show it off? Is it better to be a grower or a shower? He's probably sitting
All right,
behind
Mad Cat. You
him
have a
going,
great day,
no.
sir.
Like, well,
Thank
I'm
you
out
for
of here.
coming by.
There goes Mad Cap.
I knew somebody was going to be like, well, that's enough internet for me today.
We're always heading down the drain. See, it's not Sunday for me anymore. It's Monday morning for me, so I'm sweet.
Oh, man, I need to readjust my table. I'm getting this hunched, irk in my back. But anyway, um,
Actually, that reminds me. I have a question. Did Yamas end up getting out to the workshop the other week?
did I end up getting what? You broke up on me.
Out to the workshop.
No, he did not.
No, I am legitimately busy. I mean, I said that last episode. I am legitimately busy with things. I did get outside last week, or last that week, but it's like I had to do a whole bunch of yard work, and then I had to do this stuff. I had to help Josh with his truck. Like I'm busy, 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 busy.
Roy answered.
He did. It is right on, Roy.
Good job, Roy. Love you, mate. Love your work. Oh boy,
man.
we're always gonna go down the drain here, aren't we? Like
Yeah,
seriously.
what do you want from us? Peak cinema every 2 weeks.
If you're looking at the stream, so you got Yamez on one side and Adam on the other at the top, and if they're both circling the drain, they're going in opposite directions.
That's true. That's true. Coriolis effect. Yep.
Oh yeah. God, man, my freaking shoulders are killing me right now.
Lick that hit button. Jack
Yes.
Point says. Well, I'm not sure if you should lick it, but at least hit it. No,
you gotta lick it before you shake it.
Stroke it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
Y'all want to go off the freaking rails with me?
Yep. Change the name off the rails with the Impractical Blacksmiths.
Well, that's why we are the Impractical Blacksmiths, because nothing we do and or say should be replicated
or taken for gospel.
Yeah. I mean,
none of us are scientists.
Roy, you're here. I believe it was last week or the week before, or last episode or the episode before, we were chatting about other ideas you could do to troll people with the whole ice anvil idea. We came up with this, and this could have been just a fever dream of mine, but make an ice hammer and see how far you get with it. What was the other ones, guys?
To be clear, we did not come up with this idea. Yamez did. So
no.
I do remember we had like a discussion about it, and there were a couple of like outrageous ideas. One of them was an ice hammer.
I think it was forging ice. Or yeah, the reverse the video, like take like a make a split cross or something or whatever out of ice, like make a mold or whatever, like freeze it and then film you putting it in the fire and it melting, then reverse the footage, you pull it out and turn and start hitting it on the anvil. Just little clips that are like, huh. That was
there were a couple of ideas, and I know like last fortnight I was majorly tired, so I'm pretty sure I was running on a fever dream at that stage.
But yeah, just for little goofy videos for you, Roy, like play on that ice idea, be like, have a whole fire and ice playlist.
I think it would be neat if Roy had like an April Fool's Day, traditionally an traditional. It would have to repeat to make it traditional, but a tradition to have an April Fool's video that is just that comes out on around the 1st of April every year, where it's just some outlandish thing that is just like, what? No way. like the ice, not necessarily the ice handle, because that was actually proving a point.
Yeah, no, that
Wasn't
was a
that was
well-proved point.
but the ice hammer. I mean, that's obviously a joke because
Well,
I wonder.
I was actually thinking of that. If it wasn't pure ice, but if it was something like pipecrete, that actually might be doable.
Pipecrete?
Pipecrete. So, like wood shavings mixed with water. They were looking at making a battleship out of it in Second World War.
Huh.
Yeah. It doesn't melt as fast as regular ice.
And the wood shavings act as a binder to keep it from just shattering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay. Yeah.
I think that would just be a neat thing where the Roy released a video today, and it's just something that's just absolutely stupid. Oh, what are we doing? Oh, we're I don't know, we're preheating our hammers, or I don't know. But I mean, but Roy, I'm sure Roy has enough of just comments that are face palm comments in all those videos that there's got to be a couple ideas in there that are just absolute gold for being funny, you know?
You know, I have enough hammer handles. I could do a preheat your hammers video.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do it with a good hammer. You'd have to buy like the cheapest, nastiest Chinese.
No, I just make a quick head. You know, make a quick hammer. Not worry about like heat treating it or cleaning it up or anything, and then like toss a hammer handle on it. You know, and like have it sitting by the forge. Like, all right, everybody, I'm going to show you guys how to preheat your hammers. You know, and then take it out, and it's just a burnt stump of a freaking of a hammer handle, and just start like nothing's wrong. You know, and be like, all right, that's looking pretty good. Put both the work and the.
Or you wait until your hammer is like your hammerhead's at like a black heat, and then just grab it, and then obviously it's already been drifted and sized before you did it. You heat it up, then you drop it on the handle, smack it on the handle, and then start just like using it on something or whatever while the smoke and fire is rolling up around the hammer handle. You know.
Yeah,
Yep.
You could get some really cool shots with that.
Yeah. As long you'd have to be careful so that that it didn't fly off, because as you're burning the handle in there, it's getting looser. So maybe a tap, bam. I don't know. I think it would be an interesting little funny.
Yeah.
Another one could be a Siberian forge where you actually like make the forge table out of like ice with the hole in the bottom, and you actually set the fire on top.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how many people would claim it's AI?
Yeah, and to be fair though, I mean, like Yamaz, you can't do any of that, because any of that would require you to get out into the shop, and we know you know what is that, agoraphobia or whatever. You're afraid to go outside.
Yeah, I am lately. That grass out there is waving menacingly.
I would say it's like
So
I'm actually thinking back, like, hi Robert, we've been doing this show since 2019. I'm pretty sure Yamet hasn't been into his workshop for any decent amount of time since like 2021.
No. Where I ended up stopping? Yeah, 23. Yeah, because it's like I made a really good, did a really good Christmas, and then was working through that spring and fell in the summer with the heat, and I stopped, and then I haven't gone back out since. I just got busy in the house instead of in the shop. I still have a laundry list of things that I need to do, but now I've got also a bigger laundry list of things to do here in the office.
We're only teasing there, Yamiz.
Yeah, until you get back out there and actually show video evidence of you forging, we're going to continuously bust your balls about the fact that you don't ever get out into the shop, and it's never going to stop.
Okay.
And to be fair, right?
I deserve
Like
it.
I'm teasing, but I can't really talk because I mean I haven't released a video on my channel for like 4 years, simply because I haven't had the ability to. I haven't had like I've gone live and people have watched me do work and stuff like that, but I haven't actually made a long form content video for a couple of years simply because I haven't had my workshop set up. So I've had that pokey little shed that I was working in, and now I'm almost at the point to work to get back to things
What I
again.
can
So
do. Yeah. You
hmm?
said something there, long form videos. What I can do is I can go out there and record like 7-second videos and then release it and be like, the first time Yamas has been in the shop, proof that he's still a blacksmith. And it like goes through my whole intro and everything. And then it's like just a 7-second clip of me hitting something once and then thanks for watching. I could whip that up right now and release it with previously recorded footage. I have so much unfinished videos. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well my 2 weeks were um my 2 weeks bleed into the final thoughts. I don't want to talk about my last 2 weeks. It's been a
That's
struggle.
fair.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it's good to have episodes like this where we don't have to try and think and focus and we just interact with the chat as it comes and chit chat. I like these. I'm too busy to chit chat with people these days. Even my brother and sister-in-law. I mean, I work with them on the podcast, but like that's hardly, casual sit and chit chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's nice. I do enjoy these sitting and gabbing with the blacksmiths.
Yep. Yeah,
And
it's always
and,
good
and
fun.
I was saying, and you can tell we totally ran out of content all at the same time.
Right.
We didn't chase as many squirrels today. Usually we're chasing all sorts of squirrels down all sorts of rabbit holes. So, I mean
Yeah.
that's a rabbit hole all of it itself. Like, why are we chasing squirrels down rabbit holes and not rabbits? You think you chase squirrels up trees.
What are we doing? We're chasing squirrels and going down the rabbit hole.
I don't know
Yeah.
much about rabbits or squirrels because rabbits are a southern part of Australia problem, and we don't get squirrels. We get possums, but not squirrels.
You know what's nuts?
And a possum is different to an opossum.
You know what's nuts? When I was in Key West, the whole time I lived there, I didn't see any squirrels, to the point where I don't think there are any squirrels down there in the Keys. As much as some people say, "Oh yeah, we have squirrels," I ain't never seen. I think the iguanas eat them. But up here, it's so weird. On my property and in the general area where I live, we don't have squirrels. There are squirrels in this area, but I've never seen a squirrel on my property. I think we have too many snakes. I don't know, but it's like I thought about that the other day. I was driving and I was going over to Walnut Island and I saw a couple of squirrels chasing each other up and down a tree, and I'm like, huh, squirrels, okay. And then I thought to myself, when was the last time I seen a freaking squirrel? Like I'm used to, I grew up in Illinois where squirrels are like, oops, I hit a family of squirrels. Like they're freaking everywhere. A nuisance even. To down, then they're living in Key West where they don't have them, and then up here where it's like they're rare.
You're like hit a family of squirrels. That's like in Wyoming. You'll have antelope running right paralleling the highway at 60 miles an hour, a whole herd just like and they're freaking fast. And
Yeah.
then you'll be like maybe at the middle of the pack going down the highway, and the one out in front is maybe I don't know 40 yards out in front of you, and he'll make a left-hand turn and just and every one of them just turns left at the same time, and you don't hit one antelope, you hit like 10 of them. You know, it's like because as soon as the first one decides to cross the road,
Strike.
they all follow.
Okay, so on that note, I've got two things to say, right? First of all, that's like emus, right? Emus are a 200-pound plus bird with the brain the size of a pea, and they will run where they look, quite literally. So if they're running, and I've seen it happen, if they're running beside you and they look at you, they will run straight into the door of your car. They are that dumb. And I have seen that happen with a whole herd of emus and a road train. Right. So for those of you that aren't familiar, if you think of a large Mack truck with a single trailer, a road train is that same truck with 3 trailers. That or more. A road train in Australia is minimum of 3 trailers. So
yeah, I watched a documentary on road trains in Australia. They're crazy, and yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So I've seen a herd of a pack of emus do that to a road train, and it was just feathers and muck everywhere.
I mean, like now you got to go to the truck wash. I mean, it's just like ew.
No, what's worth it when you're in the car behind that?
A convertible behind it.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. We weren't in a convertible, but yeah, we were in the car. We were actually in a car like 2 or 3 lengths behind, and we still got splattered with some crap. Yeah, it was a sight, that's for sure. The second thing is, I'm not sure, but are skunks American or are they a European thing?
I always figured skunks were French,
Yeah.
but I grew up with Pepe Le Pew.
A few.
Yes, we have skunks.
Right. Where the fuck are they? Like, where in
They
the
come out
US
at
do you
night.
find them?
All over the
They're
place.
nocturnal. They sleep during the day. They're nocturnal, and you smell them before you see them. I mean, usually you smell them when somebody hits one. I mean, like, so you'll be driving along, you'll be like, "Oh, I smell a skunk," and then like it's like 200 feet. There's a flat skunk in the middle of the road, you know, and then you're like, "Fuck!" Roll the windows down. Oh my gosh, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I've seen
so
skunks.
like they're everywhere, you know,
Yeah,
or they
pretty
only
much.
in northern states, or like where
No,
the hell are
they're
they?
pretty much everywhere. But they're
Yeah,
they're fully nocturnal. So like
Fair
even
enough.
if you're driving at night, they could be all around you, but you don't see them because they're black, you know, with a white stripe. Yeah, but you know, like
Yep.
they're
Yeah.
I'd say about as
if
plentiful.
you see a skunk in the daylight, there's a possibility that it's rabid.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like because I like, for example, I know armadillos are American, right? Weird ass
Yeah.
freaking animals, but I'm also fairly sure they're mainly nocturnal too. But yeah, I just never seen like I with this skunks are kind of like one of those creatures that, like, yes, okay, they're real, they exist, but no one ever talks about them. No one ever, you know, it's, unlike squirrels, where it's like, you know, you see, you hear people talk about squirrels and opossums and all that type of. Even opossums are nocturnal. I feel fairly sure, but you know, you hear people talk about them and raccoons, but you don't really hear people talk about skunks or, you know, skunks and stuff like that. So, unless of course they're unfortunate enough to get sprayed by one.
Yeah. But you know, most people's interactions with skunks is their dog got sprayed with it. Oh no, gotta, you know, soak the dog in tomato juice, you know. And that's pretty much most
Yeah,
people's experience with skunks or driving down the highway and smelling them.
yeah, and I think the domesticated ones, like that are descented or whatever. I mean, like from what I understand, they make really decent pets. You know, like kind of like like kind of like ferrets. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
like if you can actually find a wild ferret and just like if you catch it, you know, you could bring it inside, put it in a cage, and like it'll just get used to and just like chill. I mean, it'll domesticate like that. Been there, done that. Caught a ferret, but Yeah, skunks. I don't know. I wouldn't have one that's not descented, and I don't know. I don't know how that works. I always wanted a pet skunk. I always thought that'd be really neat, but yeah, no, I didn't. I did. It's not neat enough to catch one in the wild and take it into the vet in a little cage while it's freaking out.
Yeah.
See, that's something we don't have to worry about here in Australia, like something that will spray you with, some sort of repulsive scent. At least
No, you
not
just
that I'm
got
aware of.
you just got 99% of the species in your country just want to kill you.
Yeah, but
Jack makes a good point. Most folks are afraid of skunk interactions. That's true. If you see a skunk, you try to give them a wide berth because you don't necessarily smell them until they've gotten scared.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, like I said,
Possums are cool.
it's yeah.
Possums are really
see,
cool animals.
You say
They get a
possum,
bad
and
rap because they're ugly as fuck, but like they are pretty
I was
cool
gonna say
animals.
you say possums, and you're talking about that thing that looks like what we would call a
Possum.
bandicoot, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
right. We have cute possums. Our possums are adorable,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily want to kill you.
Neither do the possums around here. Really, they don't. The possums around here, it's like they're afraid. Like they look angry all the time, but like that's just because that's what they look like, you know. Like, but possums, I've heard of people having possums as pets, and they're supposedly really loving creatures. Good Lord.
They're just ugly.
But yeah, look up. Look, if you ever get a chance, look at the difference between your opossum and our, for our possums, sugar gliders, ringtail possums, brushtail possums. They're cute as anything. And depending on where they are, and depending on where they are, they can be fairly not afraid of humans. I remember I was on a business trip in Airlie Beach in Queensland. Going back 10 years or so, and I had a little cabin at this resort, and at night time I was outside on the deck having a cigarette, and this possum come down out of the palm tree and was just walking along the rail, and it wasn't 2 foot away from me. I was like, and then it had a tiny little baby on its back too. It was cute as. But yes,
I will say it is pushing that time, and I have some work to do.
yeah, we were talking about not chasing squirrels, and we end up chasing squirrels.
I have to comment that we were talking about, how we ran, like how we did so good of not chasing squirrels, as we then went on down a rabbit hole discussing squirrels and other squirrel-like creatures. That's the show. Yeah. That's the show. For any of you guys who've made it this far, that's the show. Like that's what our show is. All right.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
But
absolute
that's
insanity.
the family of blacksmith around the world, though. We're learning about each other's cultures and where you live.
Yep.
I would absolutely adore to get something like a German smith or a Spanish smith, Portuguese smith, an Italian smith on to talk about their parts of the world and what makes it unique there. That would be awesome. But
yeah,
maybe for the future.
We'll be like, we'll do the Impractical Blacksmiths. It's a Small World After All edition. But
everyone got the tune in their head. I know everyone got the tune in their head.
Did. Alexa, play It's a Small World After All. Okay, Google, play It's a Small World After All. Got to turn mine off.
All right. Let's wrap it up before we get stuck on something else.
All right. With that, thank you all for listening and watching and participating and all that stuff. Much appreciate all of you.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
I figured you guys would want to say bye too.
No, we got nothing.
Okay. All right. Bye now. Praise Bart.
We didn't really have a topic. There's no reason to summarize it.
Right. Bye.